Hello and very warm welcome at Amish Cycle 5858. I am Amish Cycle. Foreign news have been reported by American, European, Asian, African, Australian news channels and the news agencies. So please, let's go to the headlines.
All the breaking news of the day on Disney Plus. Most watched, most trusted. Now on Disney Plus every night.
Tonight, breaking news, at least 8 skiers buried alive. Authorities calling it the deadliest skiing avalanche in U.S. history. 8 skiers killed, 1 still missing at this hour, presumed dead. 5 skiers and a guide rescued, forced to leave the bodies on the mountain. One of the rescuers is married to one of the victims buried in the snow. Also breaking tonight, the images coming in, the fire emergency, large fires burning across multiple states. Dramatic video showing home after home in flames. Thousands forced to evacuate, and in the Northeast tonight, bracing for another potential snowstorm that could hit. Lee Goldberg tracking 3 storms slamming this country. Tonight, there are also breaking developments in the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie. The FBI now exploring whether she might have been taken across the border into Mexico, what we've learned. Also tonight, what Walmart is now doing after that video of that man at Nancy Guthrie's front door. The alarming moments tonight on board a Delta flight in midair, the passenger who began attacking other passengers on the flight. Tonight, Meta accused of making Instagram addictive to children and teens, the landmark trial. CEO Mark Zuckerberg, whose company owns Facebook, and falling 50 feet the Queensboro Bridge, dangling as they rescued him. The massive sinkholes in the Northeast, one swallowing a dump truck, carrying asphalt to fill sinkholes, and there are evacuations underway. Tonight, for the first time, a shark recorded in waters where sharks have never been seen before. And Team USA making history tonight. Michaela Schifrin's emotional victory, her first gold after losing her father. And look at this, the dog suddenly on the course and sprinting across the finish line.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight. With
On this Wednesday night, new defection. Another MP ditches the federal Conservatives to join the Liberals.
Welcome to the government team.
Why this Edmonton MP jumped ship. What this means for the Tory and for the Liberals minority government. A fresh, brutal blast of winter.
It has been one of the worst winters I've ever seen.
The warning to Newfoundland and Labrador of what's still on the way, and the nasty weather that's dumping on southern Ontario. Stephen Colbert versus CBS.
We could not have him on the broadcast. Then,
Why there's a fight over this interview he did. Plus, boy, it was a nail-biter how Team Canada barely survived this ringside battle.
Global National with Donna Friesen.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. There's another change in Canada's political landscape. The federal Conservatives have lost a 3rd member of Parliament to the Liberals. Edmonton MP Matt Genereux, who had said late last year that he was resigning from the House of Commons, now says he's not quitting, he's changing teams. He was welcomed to the Liberals by Prime Minister Mark Carney in Edmonton today.
Great day for Edmonton, great day for Alberta and for Canada, and thank you very much for joining the team at a crucial time for the city, the province, and the country.
Our chief political correspondent, David Aiken, has the political backstory on this and what it means for both the Liberal minority government and for the Conservatives. David.
Well, Donna, this deal to pull Edmonton MP Matt Genereux from the Conservatives over to the Liberals had really been in the works for about 3 months. But when the Conservatives first learned last year that Genereux was thinking about crossing the floor, they confronted him. And rather than cross at that time, Genereux said, he would just resign his seat. And he said that resignation was going to take effect sometime early this year.
There he is.
Minister, how are you, man?
Thanks for coming.
But now, Genereux has changed his mind and he's changed parts. A decision he said he felt compelled to make when he heard Prime Minister Mark Carney's speech in Davos.
I think for me, that's
sewage spill, the sewage pipe that broke on Potomac. Can you give us an update on the federal government's response? And officials have told us, yes, that some of that aging infrastructure is a concern, that this particular pipe wasn't even the most urgent concern. Do you know if the government is looking into which other pipes could be at risk of collapsing?
Well, the next step in this process is for any of the three local jurisdictions involved, whether that's the Commonwealth of Virginia, the state of Maryland and Governor Moore, or the District of Columbia, to step forward and to ask the federal government for help and to ask for the Stafford Act to be implemented here so that the federal government can go and take control of this local infrastructure that has been abandoned and neglected by Governor Moore in Maryland for far too long. In fact, it's no secret that Maryland's water and infrastructure have been in dire need of repair. Their infrastructure has received a nearly failing grade in the 2025 report card from the American Society of Civil Engineers. This is the same grade they've received 5 years earlier. There has been no improvement under the leadership of Governor Moore. He's clearly shown he's incapable of fixing this problem, which is why President Trump and the federal government are standing by to step in. And for all of the environmentalists in the room and across the District of Columbia, let's all hope and pray that this governor does the right thing and ask President Trump to get involved, because it will be an ecological and environmental disaster if the federal government does not step in to help. But of course, we need the state and local jurisdictions to make that formal request. That's part of the legal process to move forward. Peter.
So you said that any of the three Democrats just need to ask. A few minutes ago, Maryland's Governor Wes Moore asked. He said, if the president wants me to ask nicely, our response is this: please, Mr. President, do your job.
To which I say, I'll ask the president and we will provide you with the next steps. But in all seriousness, the federal government has been preparing plans. The White House has been in contact with FEMA, with the Army Corps of Engineers, with the Environmental Protection Agency. Again, we've been standing by. This is a problem we want to fix, not just for the federal government, but for everyone who lives in the District of Columbia, including all of you. So you're welcome.
To your point about that, there are a lot of events coming up for America 250. The president wants people all over to the nation's capital in the summer. Potomac River will still smell like poop.
He is worried about that, which is why the federal government wants to fix it, and we hope that the local authorities will cooperate.
Hello and very good morning to you. This is Sky News. These are your latest headlines. Facebook founder Mark Zuckerberg gives evidence in a landmark social media case that's being watched around the world.
You could fix this tomorrow. You could save lives tomorrow if you wanted to. Shame on you.
Also ahead, Donald Trump tells the Prime Minister he's making a big mistake over the Chagos Islands just a day after the US backs the deal. And outrage after Jose Mourinho suggests Vinicius Jr. provoked racist abuse with his goal celebrations. Hello and very good morning to you. Thanks for joining us here on Sky News. A landmark court case has begun in the United States. It involves one of the issues of our time, the impact of social media on the mental health of young people. Mark Zuckerberg, the billionaire founder of Facebook and one of the biggest stars of big tech, is being questioned. Well, this was the moment Mr. Zuckerberg arrived at the court in Los Angeles. YouTube, owned by Google, is the other defendant in the case. Both TikTok and Snapchat's parent company Snap Inc. were originally named in the case, but have settled. Our US correspondent Martha Kellner has been in court and sent us this update.
This is the first time in front of a jury that Mark Zuckerberg is having to respond to claims that he and his company put profits over the health and well-being of children. The plaintiff in this case is being identified only as KGM. She's now 20 years old, but she first used Instagram when she was 9 years old. She and her lawyers say she became addicted to social media and that it had an incredibly damaging impact on her mental health. Mark Zuckerberg has been asked about Instagram's policy, which doesn't allow under 13-year-olds on Instagram. But there are documents which circulated internally within Facebook, which KGM's lawyers say prove that children under 13 are on Instagram in large numbers. They highlighted an email which was sent by Nick Clegg, who was, of course, head of global affairs at Facebook and Instagram. That he said that the fact that we have age limits that are unenforced and possibly unenforceable makes it difficult to claim we're doing all we can. The lawyers in this case also, for the plaintiff, also cited internal chat messages between Facebook employees in 2017. Employee number 1 says, "Oh good, we're going after under 13-year-olds now." Another employee responds, "Zuck has been talking about that for a while." The initial employee responds, "Yeah, it was gross the last time." Mark Zuckerberg is having to defend the allegation that his platforms, Facebook and Instagram, are inherently addictive. This idea that some of the features that are contained on those platforms, things like beauty filters and the fact that videos are set to autoplay, mean that they are even more addictive for children and teenagers. It's a very tense atmosphere inside the courtroom. There are a handful of bereaved parents who have lost their children to what they think is harms caused by social media. I was speaking to one mother whose 18-year-old daughter took her own life. She says after becoming addicted to social media, she said that she's comforted by the fact that Zuckerberg will be on that
Legal approach. Social media companies in the US are protected by what's called
Africa News. The news.
Catholics across Lagos filled their churches for Ash Wednesday, marking the start of Lent with prayers, reflections, and the symbolic imposition of ashes in the shape of a cross on faithfuls' foreheads. The annual ritual signifies repentance and mortality in Christian traditions.
It's a reminder for reflection, for us to reflect heavily about life. Even the world is very complex and ever-changing. But in as much as it is like that, it really doesn't change the essence. We need to come back to ourselves. Are we humans? How close is our relationship to God? How can we make those amendments? It's a time to really self-reflect and take some actions, some kind of next steps to see how we can better our relationship with God and with mankind.
The day marks the beginning of the 40-day period leading up to Easter, during which Christians are called to pray, practice self-control through fasting, and engage in service through acts of charity.
If we go through life and through the year and we're not reminded that we are dust and we'll get back to ash, this day serves as that reminder. It serves as that reminder rather. And we are called to understand that this body that we have right now shall return to dust, whether we like it or not. So it brings you back, makes you realign if you have lost focus.
Ash Wednesday ushers in one of Christianity's most solemn seasons. In Lagos this year, observance coincides with the start of Ramadan, uniting the city's two major faiths in simultaneous fasting.
At least 8 Nigerian soldiers have been killed and 23 others wounded after a deadly raid by jihadists linked to the Islamic State in the country's northeast. Security sources say around 70 fighters from the Islamic State West Africa province stormed a military base in Cross Kurwa village in Borno State on Monday, arriving on motorcycles and launching a fierce gun battle. The attackers reportedly mobilized from the camp on Lake Chad, burning down the base, destroying 11 gun trucks, and seizing mounted anti-aircraft weapons before retreating. The base lies just 20
TV and ABC iView.
Today, security at mental health facilities under scrutiny after 2 escaped patients allegedly killed 3 people in Sydney. A third threatening letter sent to Sydney's Lakemba Mosque on the eve of Ramadan. 8 backcountry skiers found dead after being engulfed by an avalanche in California. And Adelaide to host the Australian MotoGP from next year after snatching the race from Victoria. Hello and welcome to ABC News. I'm Roz Childs. The New South Wales Premier says he's concerned after 2 men escaped from the same hospital within 24 hours before allegedly killing 3 people in 2 separate incidents in Western Sydney. The state government has launched a review into security at the hospital, which is the largest mental health facility in the country. Gavin Cooch reports.
This review is looking into how 2 people absconded from this facility, Cumberland Hospital, within the span of 24 hours and allegedly went on to kill 3 people in 2 separate incidents. One of those incidents was on Tuesday, in which a 25-year-old man allegedly stabbed 3 people, injured 2, killing another. And it's been revealed that he had been in this facility and absconded while being transferred to another facility. That was about a week before that incident. And in the other separate incident, a 31-year-old man allegedly was involved in a car pursuit from southern Sydney to southwestern Sydney in the Camden area, in which he crashed into and killed 2 women. Now, it's been revealed that that 31-year-old had also been at this facility a week earlier, and he escaped after having allegedly threatened a nurse and taking an access pass. So this review is going to look into how these 2 people absconded and why, if the police could bring them back in, whether they could and why they didn't bring them back in, instead going on to allegedly commit those acts of crime.
Gavin, there have long been concerns about the state of the mental health system in New South Wales. What's the state government said it's going to do?
Well, Roz, this comes almost 2 years after the Bondi Junction mass stabbing in which 6 people were killed, and that brought a lot of scrutiny onto the New South Wales mental health system and how...
This is Asia Now.
It's 12 p.m. in Singapore and Hong Kong, 9:30 in New Delhi, and 11 o'clock in Jakarta. I'm Rani Samtani at this hour. Former South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol is facing the death penalty or life behind bars. A South Korean and insurgents this afternoon. More than 20 countries European allies decline invitations. And Prime Minister Narendra Modi and top CEO said to a summit event.
I'm Neha Punia, the India AI Impact Summit, and I'll tell you about the significance of this event for the country and what delegates are hoping to achieve over the course of 4 weeks.
Like France 24, let's take a look at some stories. Donald Trump detailed pledges of more than $1 billion in the first quarter peace meeting in Washington. Will be influenced, but virtually none from Europe. The former president will face the death penalty or life in prison if convicted. Yoon Suk-yeol attempted to put the country under martial law back in December 2024 that triggered a national political crisis.
And is Instagram addictive? Mark Zuckerberg is quizzed on children using social media in a Los Angeles courtroom. Meta CEO has had to testify whether the apps and platforms could deliberately harm a younger generation. This Thursday, over 20 countries will attend Trump's Board of Peace meeting in Washington, where the U.S. president will announce that member states have pledged more than $5 billion for the reconstruction of Gaza and bring humanitarian aid to the Strip. Some countries have said that the Board of Peace may attempt to rival the UN Security Council. Morgan Eyre.
This is DW News Live from Berlin. The latest round of Ukraine talks ends without agreement. Moscow and Kyiv say they see progress, but divisions remain on key issues, especially over Ukrainian territory claimed by Russia. Also on our show, Mark Zuckerberg, the head of social media giant Meta, testifies at a landmark trial. His Instagram platform is accused of deliberately addicting.
Thank you for watching. I'm Shakil 5858. I hope you will come again. Have a good life. Bye-bye.